So, yesterday I made a video where I talked about the top 5 most obnoxious, rude, and stupid characters from the Charlie Brown universe. And today, I think I'd talk about the opposite, where I talk about the characters that are nicest, the kindest, and the least obnoxious. Which this list is a little difficult because there's a lot of really, really nice and kind Charlie Brown characters. And like I said in yesterday's video, I like pretty much every Charlie Brown character besides Violet. So, honestly, let's just get into this. And now remember, this is just my list, and I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below and hear what your picks would be. Anyway, on to the countdown. So, number 5 is going to be Sally, Charlie Brown's little sister. Now, honestly, she has some so hilarious scenes sometimes, and in Charlie Brown Christmas and It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, she honestly is really cute. Just, listen to her.
I've been looking for you, big brother. Will you please write a letter to Santa Claus for me?
Come on, she sounds so adorable. And besides this, she also has some pretty hilarious scenes in comics where she goes crazy over her grades, which is very similar to me, honestly. And we can't forget about her rants, and It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown.
I was robbed. I spent the whole night waiting for the Great Pumpkin when I could have been out for tricks or treats. Halloween is over and I missed it. You blockhead! You kept me up all night waiting for the Great Pumpkin, and all that came was a beagle.
And come on, this scene is honestly hilarious, even though I do feel bad for Linus. I mean, Sally really didn't have to exist, but her existence is great, and me and everybody else is probably really glad that she exists. Come on, we all need a little Sally in our lives. Next up is the good man himself, Charlie Brown. Whether he's talking to Lucy at her psychiatrist's desk, getting rocks on Halloween,
I got a rock.
or making food on Thanksgiving. Charlie Brown is, and still will be, one of the most iconic cartoon characters of all time, making his first appearance in comic strips, and then eventually making it to animated commercials and animated specials and movies. Charlie Brown is one of those characters you just can't help but root for. He's often considered to be a lovable loser who has never been able to fly a kite, never successfully kicked a football, never won a game of checkers, and never pitched a winning baseball game. But he's still one of the best cartoon characters ever and one of the best Peanuts characters. The only reason he is kind of higher on the list is his negativity, as he says he doesn't have any friends, and that he says that nobody cares for him, and that he's just a terrible person, which is not true. I already said so much good things about him. Number 3 is going to be Snoopy in Woodstock, because, well, come on, it's Snoopy in Woodstock. Although this is mainly for Snoopy, since Snoopy appears more than Woodstock, but they're both honestly great to be together, and they're pretty funny. I mean, think about Snoopy and Woodstock together in a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. That was amazing. And besides, Snoopy is just, well, Snoopy's a dog, and dogs are adorable, and dogs are amazing. But Snoopy is pretty much the best dog you could ever see. He's a dog that does human things. I mean, sure, there's many other dogs who do the same thing, like Goofy and Pluto for Mickey Mouse. But he's still such a great character. He has some hilarious scenes in the comics. And we can't forget about this hilarious scene from Charlie Brown Christmas.
All of you, you've got to take direction. You've got to have discipline. You've got to have respect for your director. I ought to slug you. Ugh! I've been kissed by a dog. I have dog germs. Get hot water. Get some disinfectant. Get some iodine. Ah!
Comedy gold, honestly. I gotta say though, Snoopy is, besides being hilarious as a character, is still a really nice character, and he cares for Charlie Brown, and he does like a lot of the other characters anyway. I don't know, I just think Snoopy is a really good character. Linus is up next. And Linus, I have to say, is honestly a really, really great character. He is a very, very nice person. I mean, he's one of Charlie Brown's only friends. And he always carries around his little security blanket to make him feel safe. Which, sure, Lucy constantly tries to tell him that he shouldn't have the blanket, but Linus always seems to win in the end and keep his blanket. And Linus is honestly really, really smart. I mean, first of all, like I said before when I was talking about him being kind, he did help Janice and why Charlie Brown why. And he even told Charlie Brown the true meaning of Christmas in a Charlie Brown Christmas, where he literally recites a part of the Bible. Now that is amazing. And in all the hard times Charlie Brown has had, Linus has just been there for him to help him. Besides in Happy New Year, Charlie Brown, but we're not going to talk about that. Honestly, Linus sure is one of the most popular Charlie Brown characters, and for good reason. I mean, come on, he's such a great and kind person. And here are just some quick honorable mentions. Marcy. Marcy, honestly, seems to always help out Peppermint Patty whenever she's, really angry. Marcy always seems to be another, just like Linus, a very smart character. Marcy and a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, honestly, talks to Peppermint Patty about her actions of how she treated Charlie Brown, and she does feel bad about it, which is good. Marcy, honestly, I feel she deserves to be on the list, but maybe not in the top 5. But again, I think she is a pretty good character. She's very nice, very helpful, and very smart. Franklin, the first and only black Charlie Brown character. Sure, he doesn't talk a lot, but the times he does talk, he's shown to be a really nice character, and besides, a pretty important one. Number 1 is going to be my boy Schroeder, the amazing 6-year-old piano prodigy. I mean, I know you probably should know this, but almost all of the Charlie Brown characters are 6 years old, so yeah. Anyway, Schroeder. Okay, so I'm playing Schroeder in the play version of You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. So that's probably why I put him on the top of the list here. But Schroeder's my boy. Okay, he's probably been the least annoying and least negative character in all of Charlie Brown history. He is the most amazing piano player I've ever seen in my life. I mean, this kid's 6 years old and he can play any song in history on his tiny little piano. That is just some super, super insane skill he has. And I mean, he barely even talks, yet he's so savage. Have you seen him roast Lucy? I know I showed this yesterday, but I can't just help it. This is hilarious.
People who like each other, walk in the rain and hold hands.
Just, what's not to love about Schroeder? He's cute, he's talented, he's amazing. I can honestly see why Lucy has fallen for him. I mean, the other time I didn't like Schroeder is when he was extremely rude to Charlie Brown in Charlie Brown Christmas. And we can't forget how in Be My Valentine, Charlie Brown, Schroeder stepped up for Charlie Brown after Violet decided to give him a Valentine because she felt guilty. And Schroeder said that she's using a used Valentine to give to him, and that she's doing it out of guilt and not kindness. Wow, he is just amazing. He is so kind. Listen to him.
Hold on there. What do you think you're doing? Who do you think you are? Where were you yesterday when everyone else was giving out Valentines? Is kindness and thoughtfulness something you can make retroactive? Don't you think he has any feelings? You and your friends are the most thoughtless bunch I've ever known. You don't care anything about Charlie Brown. You just hate to feel guilty. And now you have the nerve to come around one day later and offer him a used Valentine just to ease your conscience. Well, let me tell you something. Charlie Brown doesn't need your... Don't listen to him.
And yeah, that is exactly why I think that's why Schroeder is my favorite character in the Charlie Brown universe. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Do you agree? And who do you think I left out that should be added onto this list? I know it's kind of called the best list, but it's more like the kindest, and the most unobnoxious characters. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you thought of the video. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What would your list be? Who did I miss? Let me know, feel free. I'm excited to hear what you think. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!